So surprisingly enough, I've been all over United States except Hawaii, and my daughter's growing up. She's becoming a tween, so I figured we'd need to book a bigger trip, and Hawaii was a good location close to California where I could fly domestically and take advantage of points. And I created a spreadsheet and started delving into a plan. So we're not only going to one island this time, we're going to 3 islands. So there were a couple islands, and being a first time Hawaiian visitor, I didn't know what to expect. And so I had to research into all these islands. Honolulu's the most urban of the islands, but you have these other islands that I've never heard of, which is Molokai, Kauai, and Hawaii, the Big Island, and obviously the one Maui, which had a devastating fire recently in 2023. And so, yes, back to the trip. I am coming out of Sacramento Airport and going all the way to LA, taking a connecting flight to Honolulu. I was able to do all of this through a United credit card that I opened up, which gave me 100,000 miles that I could use. Let me just show you my spreadsheet. And over here I kind of organized everything by dates, location, address, and split it up. Honolulu, Hawaii Island is where I'm going next, and Maui. Then I opened up all these credit cards with my wife to see where I could get bonuses, how much I have to spend to get that bonus, and whether we achieve that bonus or not. So, yeah, Ulani is obviously in here. Felicia has been working pretty hard all year to study hard, and so she will get to party with us. Recently, she had received honors and excellence of achievement, and so she will get rewarded for being a good kid. And so our trip starts out in Honolulu, and we had opened up a free Hilton card basically so that we could get the Hilton points, and I was able to book early on. So I had to book 2 months early on so that I could get a pretty good deal on the Hilton rewards and use it for, I believe, less than 40,000 Hilton honors points for one night. And so my night is free, and my flight back is free as well. But we are starting around here, and found out that the Ally Y is a place you could park for free. Otherwise, the parking is somewhere around $50 around this whole area. The Hilton that I'll be staying at is a pretty common Hilton around the Hawaiian Village. There is another Hilton just by the Sheraton here. There's a bunch of hotels here, so I think based on my research, any of these hotels will do really well for you. Now, restaurants here were kind of hard to find. It seemed like a lot of urban restaurants, a lot of quick and grabs, fast food. Marugami udon is always good, but if you live in San Francisco or somewhere in LA, you're probably going to have access to that. So if you want something a little more, I'd say cultural, I would schedule like a luau off like Hilton. Unfortunately, I believe that time we were flying in, there was no luau's. So I did find this kind of semi luau in one of the hotels, and I found a restaurant called a house without a key. It's just literally a 15-minute walk from my hotel, but they have like an old tree in there, live Hawaiian dancing and music under the stars. So I figured that'd be a good way to celebrate the starting of the night. And then we will go back to our hotel, and the next day is Ulani. And so after we wake up, we can eat breakfast. Breakfast is also hard to locate here. Some people had mentioned a couple of buffets nearby. Didn't really want to eat American food or something that I can get like around my area, so I did find this goofy cafe and dine that's not too far from my location. And a lot of this trip I simulated through Google Maps and looking at the photos, looking at the ratings, but it looked pretty cool. They had a bunch of like local mocos and it's all organic food, so it looks like it's gonna be a good breakfast. We have a little bit of time for like shopping or whatever we want to do, because check-in is not until 3 in Ulani, but we're basically going from here to Ulani, so about a 50-minute drive. There was where we're landing, that's where most of the shopping is going to be, but not really big into shopping since we already bought everything ahead of time and packed it. And so the next day we're going to Ulani. We had to book a restaurant there called Ama. I believe there are 2 restaurants, but based on my research, my makahiki is more of like a buffet breakfast kind of deal where you meet the character. They had a contemporary restaurant which is more expensive called Ama. You're probably going to be paying like $100 plus a person for like fine dining, but I believe you should factor that into your trip. Consider eat good food around. Obviously, if you're just going to be in Honolulu, there's probably going to be a lot of good food, but it's one of the things that we wanted to try that a lot of people recommended. And you do get the Ulani app so that you can book that. And once you book it, then it stays in your app. You could also put your reservation in the app. Ulani is expensive per night, and it's the most expensive hotel that we had compared to everything else. But considering this is our first time in Hawaii and it's a Disney resort, I believe that is just a good thing to visit once. And so there are a bunch of things to do here. We're going to explore once we get there, but I didn't really think too much into this. But I do see there's like a Four Seasons there resorts too, and some people recommended getting breakfast across the street, where they had some sort of 2 eggs and things. That's what they were recommending. But yeah, I might check that out. We obviously brought our snorkel gear here for ourselves. So from the next morning, I booked the Polynesian Cultural Center because it seemed like a all-around thing to do. Hotel over here is kind of hard to find, so I would recommend booking ahead of time. I believe the Courtyard is where we booked, and it's right there. And that way, when we get tired, we can just go there. I didn't book anything else this day because it seemed like, based on my research, it would take like a whole day. There's a bunch of activities that you can do, different places, but it seems like you can get all the culture just in one place, and it looked pretty fun itself. Then on the next day, before my flight out to Hawaii Island, I'm going to Kualoa Ranch, and that is basically where they filmed Jurassic Park, where the helicopter lands. Believe King Kong was filmed there too. There are a couple of options when you book online. You could just take the bus tour if you're trying to save money. In this case, I wanted to go all out, and we did the ATV tour where you drive a little ATV, go around and with a group and really enjoy that area. We might have a little time here. I see there's like a tropical farm, macadamia nuts though. But considering our tour's at 8:30 and the tour's about 2 hours, and the flight is at 12:30. We're gonna have to hightail back and return the car and get to that airport. So just to check how long it takes to get from Kualoa Ranch to the airport, it says 34 minutes. So it shouldn't be a problem, but I could expect traffic, which could take up to an hour, plus returning the car rental and then taking the shuttle back, then it might take a while. So that is my whole itinerary for Honolulu. Seems kind of short, but it is gonna cover a lot of area in a quick amount of time. Then we are taking a flight all the way down to Hawaii Island, and this part is pretty cool because I anticipated a volcano activity that was going to happen, and I've always wanted to see lava. There was a choice where we could have gone to Kauai Island instead of Hawaii Island, and I chose Hawaii Island because I'd rather see volcanic activity than nice nature. Kauai looked like, from my research, that it looked like it had a lot more nature and more interesting excursions, water activities. But I really wanted something different from this trip and to see a volcano. Well, as of yesterday, volcanic activity has started, and so they monitor that area in the Volcano National Park. I'm landing on, there's two airports, I believe. There's a Kona and Hilo side on the other side of the island. But we're landing on Kona side, visiting the Kona farm, and then I kind of left this open-ended and kind of made it roam for that one day. But our hotel's all the way in Hilo, considering we could cover that ground by driving all the way through. I kind of wanted to see this island as well, maybe not entirely, but partially. So going across to Hilo and going down to the volcano would be an interesting thing to see. And so once we go to the volcano, the plan is, if we cannot enter the park because of the sulfur and the air quality, then we are going to see it at night on a mountain or somewhere high up. But I know we are going to be surprised, and we are fortunate enough to make it in an eruption time. It was kind of a gamble or a last minute, but since I booked early, I believe now we are at a good place, because all of those hotels and all of those flights are going to be super expensive. I scheduled the whole day, the next day, for the Volcano National Park. They recommend some black sand beaches here too, and they had some really cool palm trees down in the south. I got recommendations from my friend, and it's a pretty big list, and they have a father who lives out in Hawaii Island, so I'm going to check out some local food, local drinks, and I'm going to check those out later. And so now we have next day we're going to check out, then we're going to Maui. And a lot of people may not know, but a lot of the part on the west coast has burnt down. Some of these parts seem pretty cool. I don't exactly know what I'm looking for, but I do know I wanted to go to the Molokini crater. It used to be a volcano that kind of submerged into the water, and it's a snorkeling spot as well. And I have scheduled a boat tour, and it's by the aquarium, and you see where it says here Maui's snorkeling, and I believe they had a dock over here, and they had some very specific instructions for parking, otherwise you would get towed. Something about a QR code. We're gonna go early to figure that out, but I know that it's next to the Maui Ocean Center, so when we come back we can visit that Maui Ocean Center. And then we get free breakfast. They're gonna sail down south. I saw some reviews that some people just go to this little beach and maybe just boat out themselves, but to get the real, get the real experience, we wanted to book a fleet. We chose Trilogy Sail, and based on what people were saying, that seemed to be a fun experience for them. And so we are gonna go down to Molokini Crater to do some snorkeling. And yep, once we've done that, we are going back and we are gonna explore Maui a little bit. Don't really know what to expect. I know there are a couple of farms in here that's pretty good, like the lavender farm. And I know a lot of the good parts are down here. There's like a bamboo forest, Waimuku Falls, and the road to Hana, which is highly popular. Definitely going to drive that since people are gonna keep asking me about it all the time. But nature seems to be pretty good all around. Then that's pretty much the end of our trip. Had to do a lot of research into our gear and what we're gonna pack, and so I'll show you that in a second. So over here we each have our suitcase, our carry-on, which is a specific size. Look in your airline for that, and a personal item, so that we're gonna fit everything in here so that we don't have to lug a big suitcase around. But we also ordered our snorkeling gear over here. We have our flippers, we have our snorkeling gear, and whoa, it's Ballerina Felicia. And instead of this small suitcase that Felicia usually brings, she has to bring one our size now. Over here I printed out a binder, and I found this binder which has sleeves that you could put the paper in, from Daiso, which I love that store because you pay like $1. It's basically a Japanese dollar store. But I pretty much printed all our documents just in case and organized them based on chronological order. And I have all our reservations here, so we can just flip the page as we go. Have the car rentals, and there's that recommendation in Hawaii Island that I was talking about. There's some beaches to go into, some coffee and food, Mountain Thunder, Hula Daddy, Moaka Meadows. We don't know what to expect. The only sad part is that I couldn't get into Mama's Fish House, which was recommended in Maui as one of the best restaurants in Hawaii. But you have to book like 6 months ahead of time. Wish I had known that. Booking like 3 months ahead of time, I would have put my name in. My name isn't in now, but I don't know if I'm gonna get in or not. So in the next video, we're gonna see if all this planning has paid off, but if not, then I will catch you later.